Welcome back to Poughkeepsie Live. This is the Up Close segment. And tonight's special guests are Johnnie Shadow, the Shadow Man, and his friend, Charlene. They are here tonight to talk about Shadow, Sex, and Fantasy Maze game. First of all, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, Johnnie?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight, Paul. Really, thanks for inviting me down. Myself, I fell into a chance meeting with shadows about 10 years ago, and a woman that I was involved with at the time, and she set up some kind of an encounter for me to, when I came home, and she had candles set up in a nice setting, and a bottle of wine in a nice environment, and to come home to, for anybody, I would say. Mm-hmm. So I came home to that, and there, so you know, one thing led to another, and during that intimate session, I kept noticing the shadows being cast from this particular candle that she had. Mm-hmm. It was larger than the other candles, and it threw off a beam of light which created these beautiful silhouettes on the wall, and I found that it was very, very enticing and erotic, you know, and I told her later on, I said, I think that was a beautiful thing that you did. I said, let's try, you know, that shadow thing again, and it was just so new, I couldn't tell you how you know, I was very, very impressed with it. And over the years I started writing these little shadow stories and things, and I said, you know, this would be wonderful if I could get this out to let other people know about the shadow lovemaking and how they would probably appreciate it. So I thought about how can I do this and get people to experience shadow sex. Can I write a book? I really don't know that much about it, but through experimentation and getting people involved and doing some studies on shadow lovemaking with couples participating in the studies, I found that we put these commands together, and I said, you know, a format of a game board would be perfect in order for people to understand and explore the shadow lovemaking through the game. So the game is the vehicle to experience the shadow lovemaking experience, which is, I'm just dying to tell everybody out there.
It's heavy duty.
It is a wonderful experience. It stimulates the mind as well as the body, which is the most erogenous zone of the body, the mind. So, I mean, I'm just full of wanting to tell everybody, and I was lucky enough to find one of my lovely girls over here that she had purchased the game and met me one time, and I was coming on the show, so I kind of asked her.
She brought a testimonial with you.
I brought her with me, and she was happy to come.
All right. Well, what's involved with this game? Tell me about that. What do you have to do? I mean,
well, it's very simple. It's not like one of those cheesy games you pay a lot of money for and open up, and it's made out of cheap cardboard, and you feel like you got ripped off. I'll be honest with you. We put a lot of time and effort into this game. It's a 4-fold game board. It's made out of a quality product. It's not going to fall apart after the first use. It's a fantasy maze, and the fantasy maze idea is you get lost in the maze, okay, with over 120 sexually shadow sex explicit commands where it'll say something like, using your hands caress your opponent's body while opponent watches shadows perform, okay?
Okay.
So while I'm caressing the body, we can both watch the shadows and the silhouettes, such as you see in movies and on TV. They close the shades and you see the two couples embracing behind the shade, the screen on TV. And it gives that erotic effect that most people say, wow, I wonder what's going on back there. Isn't that sexy, you know?
Okay.
So basically what happens is going through the game, there's over 120 shadow commands. You'll never play the game twice, the same. I mean, you'll want to play it over and over. And
so they're playing right now. Is that what's going on here?
Well, they're fulfilling some of the commands. This is at the Erotica LA convention out in LA in April. And that's a shadow booth that I invented.
Okay.
And it's great for people to understand. Well, when you see the shadows of those two, that couple in there, that's basically what you're going to be seeing on your own bedroom wall, okay? That's the shadow screen, the bedroom wall. This is the pyramid-shaped candle
that you get in the board.
Yes.
The board.
And when this burns out after, you know, quite a while, because the thing burns slow and it burns down and projects a nice light. That's why we chose the pyramid-shaped candle. After going through
You tried out a lot of candles.
A lot of candles, a lot of lighting.
Now, we should tell people that this requires a partner. You need to do this. You can't do this by yourself, right? I mean, so, I tell you, this is interesting stuff. It's got a whole bunch of, I can tell you a little bit about it. This is ice cream chamber. Put ice cubes on your opponent's blank. Okay? You fill in the blank. So,
while cool. Watching the shadows.
Yeah, so how long does it take to complete the game? Is there something I can do for like the whole day or something like that?
Basically, a nice evening, you know, with your special friend or wife or husband that you want to spend some time. You might make it only to the first juncture over here. I don't know, you know.
Okay.
But I mean, if the game can be, you can leave it where you stop where you left off and take on the next week. It takes about an hour to get through the game. It's sort of a tantric love-making type of thing, which explores each other in a totally new fashion of watching the shadows, and I mean, it's totally awesome. I can't even explain it. Words are hard to explain. You have to try the game.
Okay, well, good. Okay, it's a Shadow Sex Fantasy Maze game. The purpose of the game is to provide fun for adults while expanding their sexual horizons and reducing their sexual inhibitions. Inhibitions is spelled wrong, Raj. Charlene, tell me about your experience with this game.
Well, I was browsing through a novelty shop, and I was looking for a sexual enhancement, if you will.
Okay.
The game caught my attention. I thought the cartoon characters were cute. I started reading it. And struck my interest, so I brought it home. My partner and I played it.
Works great.
Yeah, it definitely takes away all your inhibitions. It makes you experience things that you never thought that you'd ever tried before. It definitely makes it a whole new erotic experience. I thought I tried everything. It's definitely very, very erotic, and if you tried everything, or if your sex life is not interesting, it definitely puts that little extra spice.
This is the answer.
There.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right.
Let me just say, this is a great gift, okay, for a bachelor or bachelorette party, for a holiday gift, for someone who has everything, or for the person who has nothing and would like something. It's a conversation piece just to put, I mean, it's a work of art. A lot of work went into this game. The culmination of a lot of people and effort of a lot of people. I have to thank a lot of people just, you know, who worked with me over the 6-year period to develop this, you know, doing studies and asking how long does this command take. I mean, this thing is timed perfectly. 30 seconds for some commands is like, that's the perfect time for the commands.
Johnnie Shadow, isn't it?
Is the external beacon of to remind you of your internal self. So when you're making love with that special person, and I say that when you're concentrating on the shadows and the silhouettes and the whole experience, remind yourself and take the time that person has an inner self, and they have feelings, and to really enjoy the experience. Take the time out to spend, you know, that evening, and put the whole evening aside. You know, take any distractions that are going to be in the way of this game, because this game is going to take an hour to 2 hours possibly. And of course, there's a point scoring gratification I've added in there, in case you're a competitive couple and you want to take the points down. I mean, I lost by a few points, and what do you mean? That's 5 points.
There aren't any losers. Everybody wins.
No, there's always everybody's a winner in this game, even if you're a loser, because it's just it's a completely fun, new, and when's the last time anything new sexually on the market has come out that's safe and really decent? You know what I'm saying? Shadow sex is shadows. You can't catch anything from a shadow, by the way.
That's true.
But you do have to be careful who you're playing it with, and always take those precautions. I honestly
to be careful.
So I mean, this is for adults and fun for adults, and I just wish everybody would experience it in their lifetime. I'm saying this is something you should experience within your lifetime, not tomorrow, maybe 10 years down the road. And how it stimulates the mind and the body, psychological aspects of shadow lovemaking, how shadow sex can help diminishing sexual relationships. My motto is, before you try Viagra, play shadow sex.
Right.
You definitely won't have a heart attack, I can tell you that. I mean, this book is coming out in the springtime. I mean, this is a healthy forum for adults to, definitely increase their understanding and open up their horizons and reduce their sexual inhibitions if they have any. And And I tell you one thing, once you play shadow sex, you'll never look at your shadow again in the same light.
Okay.
Okay?
I bet.
I also wanted to add one thing. I am doing some local touring on Long Island right now with the Shadow booth
Okay.
in certain clubs. If you'd like to have the Shadow booth in the club, okay, dial the 1-800 number and ask for information on how to get the Shadow booth.
Fantastic.
We're doing a Shadow Girl calendar contest
Okay.
for the new Millennium calendar, so we
Neat.
need Shadow Girls. And, it's a lot of fun, I can
We
tell
wish
you,
you
in
a lot
the
of luck.
clubs.
It's gonna be
going
great.
crazy. It's going crazy in the clubs.
It's going to be great.
So,
Good.
I really
Not a
appreciate
problem.
this.
Not a problem.
Nice to
Charlene,
meet
thank you very much. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Okay. I think we're going to do is we're going to take this out right now. We have a package story. We have The Legend of Sleepy Hollow in Tarrytown. And up after this, we have Spirits. You got to stay tuned.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in.